Hello everybody, John12 back here again with another video, and today is Wednesday night, and as always, I'm back with another Arrow review. Tonight I review Arrow's Season 3, Episode 14, titled The Return. Now, if you've not seen tonight's episode, please go check it out, because this review may contain spoilers. That being said, let's get right down to the episode at hand. It is Return of many freaking characters. First off, it's the biggest return for me is Slade Wilson. Manu Bennett is back in action as Slade Wilson, which was pretty badass. But we have tons of other, returns to characters. We have Tommy back, which was pretty interesting. We got to see Oliver's dad again. We got to see, Oliver and Maceo go to Starling City once again. And there was just a lot of really interesting things that happened. But one of the main things I did not like about this episode is that they didn't stick to what I really wanted out of this episode. Coming into this episode, I thought it was going to be a straightforward Slade Wilson revenge episode. That was kind of the intentions of what I was getting myself into for this specific episode, but it's kind of the opposite of that. I mean, once again, spoilers, but the majority of this episode is actually a flashback. It's mostly flashback in comparison to real time, which I think was a bad decision on their hand. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the flashbacks, and this one I think was a little better than other ones. I mean, basically, as hinted in last episode, Amanda Waller takes Oliver Maceo back to Starling City because that's where China White's at. So they have to take her down and take back the gamma radiation fucking chemical device, weaponry, whatever she has, get that back, kick her ass, take her into custody, and basically head back to Hong Kong. And that's essentially what they're doing back in Starling City overall. And there were some things I liked. I mean, we got to see Oliver witness Thea's actions during the time between him being on the island and him and her being in Starling City and before he came back. So we get to see a good glimpse of that. Obviously, Tommy's back. We got to see Tommy kind of try to step into the older brother kind of role with her relationship, which was, I thought, interesting. And we also got to see a little bit more of a playful side to the conception of Tommy and Laurel's relationship, so that was kind of interesting. And we also get to see Detective Lance with hair again, so which needs to happen. But nevertheless, yeah, that was pretty much the flashbacks. And the flashbacks, I've had a huge problem with them over the course of the season, but this one is definitely one of my favorites. And I also really like the joke that Maceo gives to Oliver, where he basically goes back and breaks into the Tommy mansion party that he's having, which I wish they could have stayed in a little longer. But overall, he comes in to watch and see what's going on with Tommy and Laurel and specifically Thea. So he's just trying to investigate there. And overall, when he gets out, when Maceo threatens to kill him to get out, he essentially has this really funny joke on like how his hoodie was ever going to be some kind of disguise over not realizing that that's freaking Oliver Queen. I thought that was a pretty funny joke. I'm obviously paraphrasing, but I just thought that's pretty funny because it is kind of true. It's like he's wearing the hoodie, but you can tell that it's obviously Oliver. I mean, like the drug dealer obviously found out pretty easily. I mean, like, granted he was right in front of him, but still at the same time, it's kind of. And also the joke about, like, even if you spray painted, like, paint over your eyes, it wouldn't make any difference. Which is kind of funny because in Season 1 and early Season 2, he obviously was wearing paint over the eyes to cover his identity, which was dumb. I don't know why they went that way, but overall, I thought that was a pretty funny joke. It kind of goes back to that one episode. I want to say it was Uprising or Canaries. Uprising or Canaries. One of those two episodes, where Detective Lance discusses his case with Bricks to Roy, and he obviously knows it's Roy. I thought that was kind of funny. I wish they could have that with Oliver, where he's like, how does he not realize that that's Oliver? Like, everybody knows it's Oliver except for Lance. How is that possible? Like, everyone else figured it out. Like, Thea's probably like the last person who's figured it out. Who else is left that doesn't realize the truth? Detective Lance. I'm pretty sure it's inevitable, but I think they're just going to keep that a secret between the two for right now. But overall, the flashbacks, I thought they were enjoyable. I just wish they toned it down more. Like, they just focus so heavily on it. And even though I liked it, there wasn't really any significant thing that happened into it. I mean, like, overall, the main point that they were trying to get across is the relationship between Oliver and Thea, and obviously having a good Tommy moment and stuff like that. So, I get it, but Slade Wilson's back. Why can't we fucking enjoy that? But they had to freaking ruin it with the flashbacks. I'm just saying, like, I'm a huge Manu Bennett fan. Once again, he was the main reason as to why I got into Arrow. Like, when I got into season 2, he's the main focus, and he was the main reason. Like, Deathstroke was so fucking kick-ass. And also, doesn't anybody find it weird that they depowered Deathstroke once again? I mean, like, Slade Wilson got beat too easily in this fucking episode. It took him, like, an entire season to beat him last time. And they beat him up at, like, what, 20 minutes in their second fight? Come on. That's just, I mean, like, Arrow does a lot of changes. There's no denying that. They do a lot of changes from the comics, and a lot of them are good decisions, some of them are bad decisions, but the depowering of Slade I never liked. I mean, the Mirror Crew really amped that up, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, but then they ruined it with the finale, which I understand why they did it, and it was enjoyable nonetheless. But overall, this is a guy who took down the Justice League, people. Just put that into your head real quick. He took down the Justice League, and he's getting the shit kicked out of him over Thea, who hasn't been training at all, and Oliver, who fucking had fucking a hell of a time to try and take him down earlier. So how is it possible that in between the time between season 2 finale and now, that they're capable of being any type of threat to Slade Wilson? Granted, he's been in prison, he's been in Argus this whole time, but then again, when you're in prison, what else do you have to do other than train? I'm pretty sure that's all he's been doing is training, so why not have him be stronger? It just doesn't make any sense to me, especially seeing as though that it's not like they have him on chains in that fucking little cell. He's just walking around talking shit, so I really don't know what they were going with that, but overall, Oliver and Thea are back on the island. Basically, Malcolm Merlin decides that they have to train to regain that killer edge and use that advantage towards Ra's al Ghul. And basically, to put that into effect, he reveals to Oliver during a phone call that he has freed Slade Wilson from Argus so they can hopefully fight him, use that as a training session, and of course end up killing Slade Wilson, which is what Malcolm wants in his own stupid way. You know, didn't really happen overall. First off, Manu Bennett being back, fucking awesome. I loved it. That was the number one thing I was waiting for this whole season. Did this episode do it justice? Not really. There was a good episodes with Manu Bennett. I loved the whole sequence where, spoilers of course, but where he's revealed and you see him again, and he's like, and Oliver's like back in the graves when he's discussing with Thea like what they should do and where they should hide, and basically Slade comes out and he's just kicking ass. I thought that was pretty badass. The second scene has to be the ending of the episode where Oliver and Slade have their last words together when, you know, they leave. I thought that was pretty badass. But overall, once again, they fuck over Slade. I mean, like, he's just a badass, and they just fucked him over in this episode. Granted, they had a good moment there. I mean, like, he took down Oliver and Thea, locked them up in Argus, and instead of killing them, which I think he could have done easily, which I don't know why he didn't, but he didn't, and decided that, well, I guess in his own sick little mind, that because Oliver didn't kill him in the finale, he decided, okay, well, I'm going to return the favor and not kill you, but that doesn't mean I'm going to let you free. I'm going to obviously put you in the same position you put me, which is locking you up in Argus. So, I kind of see where he's coming from, but it would have been so easy. And also, doesn't anybody find it a little strange that Thea had no bruises at the end of this episode? She got the shit kicked out of her, and no bruises. Was, like, the makeup artist on Arrow, like, on break or something? Like, seriously, like, if you look at Oliver, he had bruises all over his face. He had, obviously, the major wound on his arm from the traps, the booby traps on the island and shit. But, Thea got out of there nothing. And she got whacked a good couple of times from Slade, so that's just one of the things that I was like, really? But, once again, that's kind of a nitpicky type of thing. But it's also kind of weird. And, yeah, there's just a whole bunch of things that go down in this episode that I really wish didn't. And I really wish they could have amped up more with specific other things, you know, like the Slade versus Oliver stuff. But Oliver, obviously, has no desire in killing Slade. I mean, like, if he wanted to kill Slade, he would have done it back in the finale. So it obviously makes sense that he wouldn't want it. But of course, the main point of the episode is that Thea wants to kill Slade. And what kind of decision should she make on her reasoning behind this whole... I mean, like, Slade is obviously a bad guy. He's a psychopath. He killed Mora, last season. So obviously she has a lot of reasoning to kill Slade, but, it doesn't really go out that way. Essentially, she just shoots him in the arm, taking him down so they can just lock him up back in Argus, which is, I guess, okay. I mean, like, I was scared there for a second, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm just saying, like, when it comes to specific villains, I root for them sometimes, and Slade is definitely one of those. I mean, like, as much as he's an asshole, and he, fucks over people, and he's a psychopath, he's so fucking awesome and badass. It's like rooting for Deadpool. It's like Deadpool is a fucking asshole. He's always talking shit, and he's killing people like every 5 seconds. And that's a bad thing, of course. But you love him because he loves talking shit. He's awesome. He's fun. It's the same thing with Deathstroke. He's just a badass. You just can't help love him. But overall, this episode was pretty good. It was pretty decent. And overall, I give it a 7 out of 10. It was a good episode. I would have liked it to have been just one straight up Slade Wilson / Oliver Queen episode, but we didn't really get that. It was mostly just a flashback episode. So if you're for everybody who's a Manu Bennett / Slade Wilson fan, if you're going into this episode thinking that, oh yeah, Slade's gonna be back and it's gonna be all badass and shit, no, it's really mostly just a flashback. And that's pretty much all it really is. So that was kind of the main downer for me. But personally, there were a lot of good things in the flashbacks that I liked, which is why this episode is not a huge downer. It's just something that I wasn't expecting. But overall, let's get into the main things that I really want to discuss before I end this review. Overall, first off, Slade and Oliver's last talk. Basically, when they lock up Slade once again, Thea walks away, of course, and Oliver and Slade are discussing the fact that everyone that he loves eventually dies and goes away. And he kind of has this analogy of like, okay, well, your mother is dead. Your sister is now dead, technically. And who's really next? And then he brings up the notion of like, Felicity could be the next person that dies. So, once again, it kind of brings up my speculation, folks. I mean, I get it. A lot of people kind of went down on me in the comment section when I opened up that discussion where it's like, oh no, Felicity can't die. She's the best part of the show. Don't get me wrong. I love the actress who plays Felicity. Emily's fucking awesome. She's a badass. She's fucking great to watch. She's great to look at in general. But I just get the feeling that someone major will die. And it's out of these 3 people that I think. And I kind of got this new one out of, not only by the teaser of next week's episode, but overall based off what other reviewers have been saying, and of course what I've been getting in the comment section of my reviews. Basically, Felicity, I think she'll die. And if not Felicity, Thea, I think it's a possibility she will die. Or maybe she'll die in the sense of how Slade was explaining it, where the person she was dies, and now this new person will, come out of the ashes of what Thea used to be. In the sense, I'm using an analogy, but basically that's what I mean. Thea will end up dying. Either the person she was, or the person she is now. One of those kind of versions of Thea will die. I have heard various speculations, and I kind of opened up the speculation that maybe she'll become Artemis, and some people say, like, oh, maybe she'll become Cheshire, or some shit. Overall, I think, she might die either way. Thirdly, Malcolm Merlyn. I get the feeling that he will die. I've heard some good speculation on the fact that, well, seeing as how Thea and Malcolm's relationship is pretty much kaput at this point, Malcolm might try to sacrifice himself to save Thea in the Raj Al Ghul League of Assassins threat struggle, so that could be a possibility. But based off the teaser, I doubt that's going to happen. I think Raj Al Ghul might get his chance to kill Malcolm overall, but then again, you have to find out later, next week. But anyways, at the end, love these speculations. I'm just saying, out of all the cast members who I think might die by the end of this season, I think Felicity's a dead ringer for it. Don't get me wrong, I love her, but it just makes sense. Number 2, Thea, which also makes sense, and thirdly is Malcolm. But overall, who do you think? In the comment section, let me know who do you think will end up dying at the end of this season. Overall, this episode was great. I give it a 7 out of 10, as I mentioned before. But let me know what you personally think about this overall episode in the comment section below. Also, in the comment section below, let me know what you personally think about Diggle becoming Green Lantern. I know that has nothing to do with the series, but a lot of people keep bringing it up. And personally, for me, Diggle, I don't think he needs to be Green Lantern. But why can't he have a mask? Or at least a costume and a mask, and I would feel better. Don't give him a hoodie, but just give him like some kind of helmet type thing. I don't know. I'm just saying. Because the second he becomes Green Lantern, he becomes more popular and better than Oliver. You know, it's kind of like the Flash thing. Unless they just spin him off and just call it the Diggle. Or just call it Diggle. That's the new TV series, Diggle. Or just like when they end up doing, if they ever, of course, if they end up doing the Suicide Squad spin-off series, just have Diggle be the leader of that shit or something, you know. But overall, yeah, Diggle being Green Lantern, I'm not 100% with it, but I love Diggle. I think he's an awesome character, and I just think he needs a costume / mask, you know, not technically Green Lantern powers, but something on terms of that overall. But anyways, let me know what you personally think about that. Also, what do you think is going to happen in the future of this season? I mean, like, first off, we have so many things going on over the course of the teaser that we got. We get the good feeling that Thea, over her departure with her relationship with Malcolm, after her, once again, spoilers, discovering the fact that Malcolm used her to kill Sarah and she was the one who killed Sarah, basically their relationship is also kaput. Essentially, do you think that Malcolm will die next week, in next week's episode? I personally think that it's a possibility, but you never know. Seeing as how Oliver doesn't want Malcolm to die yet, it just makes sense that, you know, could he die? So let me know what you personally think about that. What do you think is going to happen to Thea? What do you think is going to happen to Felicity? What do you think is the future of Oliver in the flashbacks? Of course, they're heading back to Hong Kong, but what is the reasoning behind that? Let me know what you personally think about that. And also, we get the review of the Atom next week. Yes, we got a good teaser of Brandon Routh in the Atom suit in action. So, yeah, I cannot wait to see that badass stuff. I hope it's freaking amazing and it kicks ass. But overall, yeah, everything in this episode was great. I would have liked it to be more of a Slade Wilson episode. I think they depowered him too easily. Thea and Oliver took him down too easy. It just wouldn't go that way. But then again, it had to happen. And also, what do you think is going to happen to Slade in the future of Arrow? I personally want him to become a regular again, but I just find it very hard to believe that he'll become best friends with Oliver all of a sudden. You know, either one of two things need to happen to Slade over the course of this season towards Season 4. Either A, he becomes a part of the Suicide Squad, officially as Deathstroke, like he is in the comic books, which would make sense, especially seeing as how Arrow and the CW do plan to make more Suicide Squad episodes, which will be coming up pretty soon. And second, I just hope they just bring him back just as a regular, just in general. Personally, I don't see him becoming best friends with Oliver anytime soon, but at the most, just let it be like the relationship between Diggle and Deadshot. Like, Diggle and Deadshot, they're not friends, but they're kind of rivals / colleagues. Like, they work together, but they're not really technically best friends. I wish they can just have that with Slade and Oliver right now. Like, Slade doesn't want to kill Oliver, he just wants to see him suffer. So just continue to play with that plot device, but just make Manu Bennett a regular again. I'm just saying, now that the Hobbit trilogy is done, bring back Manu Bennett as a regular, CW, just do it. But anyways, let me know what you personally think on that in the comment section below. But overall, that's going to be it for my review of Arrow Season 3, Episode 14, titled The Return. It was a pretty interesting return of Oliver, and I cannot wait to see next week's episode. It's just going to be awesome. But anyways, go to my channel. Check out last night's episode of The Flash. Check out last week's episode review of Arrow. Definitely check out my review / breakdown of the Ray Palmer Atom suit before we get to see it in action next week. And of course, next week I don't think, actually for the rest of this month, I don't think we're gonna get any more Flash episodes. I think the Flash returns in March for some reason, so yeah, the Flash might be taking a break right now, which sucks. But once they come back on air, I will definitely be reviewing more episodes of the Flash. And of course, next week we enter League of Assassins Ra's al Ghul territory, and the Atom is coming. So definitely I'm going to review next week's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you personally think in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already. Hope you guys enjoyed. This has been John 12.